How are you ensuring you have a measurable and lasting impact on the lives of your beneficiaries?
At the Oak Group, we are aiming to have near constant communication with the beneficiaries directly. So with those that we provide food to, we want to know what they do with the food, how they use it, and use our contacts with culinary experience to impart skills on them. So we want to get them involved in the project, and so they can prove to us and prove to themselves that they are gaining valuable experience and valuable skills. So this will allow us to have a measurable impact, both sort of qualitatively and quantitatively. And that's one side. For the food bank users that are sort of running our cooking workshops, the ones with culinary experience, we want to help them, we want to facilitate them to impart their skills on others. As we want to do this by offering the opportunity of some of the food bank users to get their culinary qualifications. So whether that's their level 2 food hygiene, preparing food, anything like that, we want to kind of get them, and that would be a really nice way of proving that we have improved people's lives and giving them a new skill set that could in fact get them into employment. And then in the food waste sort of side of it, we're keeping a constant record of what we've got and what we've used, what we've manufactured, and what we have and what we've had to donate. And so we have constant tabs on what we're doing with all that kind of side of the project.
So when it comes to Shakti, as mentioned in the presentation, we like to follow the sort of beneficiaries that we're helping and follow them through the process. It's a transition and there is an end game. So the way that we can measure impact is obviously by the amount of women that we help or the amount of schoolgirls that we provide underwear to. But what we do is by following these burn victims and these end games and these options, we're able to gather first-hand evidence on their recovery, the anecdotal evidence that we can feed back to either corporate sponsors or our stakeholders in India and the UK. Also, because of our sort of stakeholders there, we have accurate numbers on sort of the amount of schoolgirls that we can help and the schools that we can target. So because of this accurate data, we're able to pinpoint the impact in terms of numbers quite accurately. But something that we do want to implement in our next trip to India is a more formalized feedback process. Like we sort of mentioned, the project properly sort of took off in December last year. So we're still looking to implement a more formal feedback process, but for the time being, we have a good grasp of the numbers and of anecdotal evidence, of which gives us a good sort of example of how we can measure and track our impact as a project.
For the projects you presented today, how do you plan to grow and scale these in the future?
So for Ugly Fruit, our end game goal is to become a brand that is A, well known, and B, widely available. So we want to have products that are available in lots of cafes, in lots of restaurants, in lots of supermarkets. And this goal, we want to get there by getting as many people involved as possible. So there are many people that rely on food banks. There are many people that are unemployed. And we want to get as many people like these on board with the project as possible, those with culinary skills and those without. So we're going to run campaigns to get more and more people involved. We're hoping to talk to more food banks. We've got connections with food banks now in Durham, so we can set up a sort of Ugly Fruit 2.0, and through this we can really start expanding our project and get more people involved, increase our production capacity. We're also talking to more suppliers. We're also in talks with Tesco, but the coronavirus situation has slightly put a hold on that. And so hopefully this will mean that we get A, more of a supply, B, more people involved, and C, that means we can just expand our reach. We're currently on a rather big social media campaign, getting more people involved, getting people liking the page, getting people contributing. So the more the merrier is kind of our mantra with that. And the more people that are involved, the more stakeholders that we get, the more produce that we have, the more impact that we can make.
When it comes to Shakti, obviously our future goal is to acquire more sponsors for the project. Obviously the project is still running at the moment because we have help from small amounts of subsidies from our Indian stakeholders. But something we do want to do is really instill long-term corporate relationships with corporations where they donate year in, year out, when they become enticed with the project and really sort of involved in the lives of the women and the work that we do. So it's essentially pitching to more sponsors and developing that relationship with corporates so it becomes sustainable in the long term. Something else that we want to do is also improve our social media as well. We haven't focused on this particularly because it isn't a crucial part of our project, since we're pitching to corporates and we don't require donations from the general public, for example. But I think because of the unique offering of the project, it's important that people in Durham and the local community, anyone online, can really see what we do with the project and the impact that we have. So social media is something else that we want to implement as well in the near future. But in terms of the sort of longer term, we want this project to be sustainable in the long run. We will also look at expansion as well, and in terms of how we can expand the project to other areas of India, and really sort of work with this Indian stakeholder. But these are our sort of medium to long-term goals with Shakti.
Concludes our question and answer period.